Welcome to Useful Words. Hi, my name is Leroy Glover, and on this channel, we're going to explore useful words. In this video, we're going to share the law of first impressions, how to make a positive impact. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to have the it factor? They walk into a room and everyone wants to talk to them. They're the life of the party. They're charming and confident and just generally likable. Chances are, those people have mastered the art of making a great first impression. Think about it this way. When you meet someone for the first time, what are you really doing? You're trying to figure out if this is someone with whom you want to spend more time with. And how do you do that? By seeing if they have qualities that you find attractive or interesting. So, what does it take to make a great first impression? It's actually not as difficult as you might think. There are really two things you need to keep in mind. Number one, be yourself. And number two, be interested in the other person. That's it. If you can do those two things, chances are that you'll make a lasting impression. So if you want to make sure that people want to spend more time with you, focus on being someone who is worth spending time with. By being interesting and interested, and chances are good that people will want to get to know you better. If there's one thing you must always remember, it's that first impressions are everything. The way you present yourself to someone, whether it's in person or online, says a lot about you as a person. And if you want to make a good impression, you need to put your best foot forward every single time. Since we're here, let's find out why it's so important to make a great first impression. What is the law of first impression? How many times have you heard the phrase, you only have one chance to make a first impression? Probably too many to count. And there's a reason for that. The truth is, according to psychologists, people base their initial likability of you on your first impressions. So it's important to be aware of the signals you're sending out when you meet someone new. What is a first impression? A first impression is the overall evaluation that someone forms of you based on their initial interactions with you. This can be in person or online. It's important to remember that first impressions are not always accurate. People often form snap judgments based on very little information. However, first impressions can be difficult to change. So, what exactly is first impressions? First impressions is the very first thing someone thinks of when they meet you. It is based on your appearance, body language, and the way you carry yourself. And unfortunately, first impressions are often made within seconds of meeting someone. That's why it's so important to be aware of the signals you're sending out and to make sure they're the ones you want to send. What is the law of first impressions? The law of first impressions is the belief that people form opinions about others based on their initial interactions with them. In other words, if you make a good first impression, people will be more likely to think positively of you going forward. On the flip side, if you make a bad first impression, it can be difficult to change people's perceptions of you. The law of first impression is the idea that people form an opinion about you based on their first interactions with you. This opinion is then hardwired into their brain and is very difficult to change. That's why it's so important to make a good first impression. A great first impression is essential in today's world. Whether you're meeting someone for business or pleasure, by dressing for success, smiling, making eye contact, and being a good listener, you be sure to make the best possible impression every time. Why first impressions matter and how to make a good one. Your first impression is the most important one you ever make. It's the foundation upon which all future interactions will be built. So it's vital that you make a good one. Think about it this way. When you meet someone for the first time, you immediately form an opinion of them based on their appearance, body language, and the way they speak. And once that opinion is formed, it's very difficult to change. People base their initial likability of you on your appearance, body language, and how you speak. They also take into account your hobbies, interests, and values. Essentially, they're trying to determine if you're someone they would like to be friends with. So if you want people to like and respect you, it's important to make a good first impression. So how can you make sure that you are making a good first impression? Here are some suggestions on how to do just that. How to make a good first impression? There are many factors that contribute to good first impressions, but here's some of the most important ones. Appearance. When you meet someone for the first time, they will quickly form an opinion of you based on your appearance. So it's important to dress appropriately and groom yourself well. This doesn't mean that you have to be flashy or wear designer clothes. Just that you should look clean, presentable, and put together. Your appearance matters, especially when you meet someone for the first time. You want to dress in a way that is appropriate for the situation and that makes you feel confident. For example, if you're going on a job interview, you want to dress more formally than if you're going to the grocery store. But no matter where you're going or what you're doing, make sure your clothes are clean and wrinkle-free. Body language. Your body language speaks volumes about you. Even if you're not saying a word, stand up straight with your shoulders back, make eye contact, and smile. These are all nonverbal cues that convey confidence and approachability. Avoid crossing your arms or legs, as this could give off an impression that you're closed off or uninterested. Your body language says a lot about you, even if you don't realize it. Make sure that your posture is open and relaxed, and especially that you're not crossing your arms or legs in a way that makes you seem closed off. Additionally, try to avoid fidgeting or touching your face too much, as this can make you appear nervous or uneasy. The way you speak. The way you speak also says a lot about you. Be sure to articulate clearly and avoid using filler words such as or like. Speak confidently and slowly enough that people can understand you, but quickly enough that you don't sound bored or uninterested. And most importantly, listen more than you talk. People love talking about themselves. So let them do just that by asking questions and being an active listener. Make eye contact and smile. When you meet someone for the first time, it's important to make eye contact and smile. This shows that you're friendly and approachable. It's also important to remember to keep your body language open. That means no crossed arms or legs. Be a good listener. One of the best ways of making a good impression is to be a good listener. When you're talking to someone, really pay attention to what they're saying. Show that you're interested in what they have to say by making eye contact and nodding your head occasionally. And don't forget to ask follow-up questions. People love talking about themselves, so if you show that you're interested in hearing more, they'll be sure to remember you favorably. Ask questions. Asking questions show that you're curious about the other person and want to learn more about them. Just be sure not to ask too many personal questions right off the bat. Save those for later. Follow up after meeting someone new. If you exchange business cards or contact information with someone, follow up with them within the day or two. This shows that you're really interested in meeting them and staying in touch. First impressions really do matter. There's no two ways about it. The way you present yourself when meeting someone for the first time will shape their opinions of you for years to come. So if you want people to like and respect you, it's important to make a good first impression. By following the suggestions, you'll be well on your way on doing just that. Suggestions for making a stellar first impression. The first impression is the very first thing that someone notices about you. It's the split-second judgment that they make about you based on your appearance, body language, and communication style. The first impression is important because it can be very difficult to change once it's been made. That's why it's so important to make sure that your first impression is a positive one. Now that we know what the law of first impression is, let's talk about how we could use it to our advantage. There are several things you can do to make sure you're making a positive impact every time you meet someone new. Be confident. One of the most important things you can do when meeting someone for the first time is to be confident. Stand straight, make eye contact, and smile. This will show the other person that you are comfortable in your own skin and that you are happy to meet them. Be interested. Another great way to make a positive first impression is to be interested in the other person. Ask them questions about themselves and really listen to their answers. People love talking about themselves, so by showing an interest in them, you're sure to make a good impression. Be friendly. Of course, you also want to be friendly when meeting someone for the first time. Be polite and use please and thank you. A genuine smile goes a long way too. By being friendly, you will come across as someone who is easy to talk to and that people would enjoy spending time with. Listen more than you talk. It's important to remember that conversations is a two-way street. In order to carry on an engaging conversation, you need to do more than just talk about yourself. Make an effort to ask the other person questions about their lives or their interests. Not only will this help carry the conversation, but it will also give you information that you can use later on should the need arise. Dress for success. When you're meeting someone for the first time, you want to make sure you dress appropriately. If you're meeting someone for a business lunch, for example, you want to wear business casual attire. If you're meeting someone for coffee, jeans and a nice top would suffice. The key is to dress in clothes that are clean and wrinkle-free. You want to look put together and professional. Put your best foot forward. Another way to make sure you're making a good first impression is to put your best foot forward. This means taking care of the little details. Make sure your nails are manicured and your hair is styled. If you wear glasses, make sure they're clean. You want the person meeting you to see that you take pride in your appearance and that you're making an effort. Be on time. Nothing makes a worse first impression than being late. If you're meeting someone for lunch, aim to be there 10 to 15 minutes early so you can be seated and have time to order before your guest arrives. If you know you're going to be running late, call ahead and let the person know so they're not left waiting for you. Being punctual shows that you respect the other person's time and that you're reliable. Your body language is one of the most important factors in making a good first impression. When you meet someone new, be sure to stand up straight, make eye contact, and smile. These simple actions will make you seem more confident and approachable. Clothes and grooming are also important considerations when it comes to your body language. Make sure your clothes are clean and wrinkle-free. And be sure to groom yourself well. Comb your hair, brush your teeth, and so on. You want to look like someone who takes care of themselves and is proud of their appearance. Verbal communication. What you say is also important when making a first impression. Be sure to speak clearly and confidently. As I said earlier, avoid using filler words like and like. And try to avoid talking too much. You don't want to come off as a nervous, overeager. Instead, let the other person do most of the talking. This will help you seem more interested in them and less self-centered. As I shared earlier, make eye contact when you're talking to someone. Make sure to maintain eye contact. And this shows you're interested in what they're saying and that you're paying attention. Breaking eye contact can make you appear distracted or disinterested, neither of which are qualities that will endear you to the other person. Smile. One of the easiest ways to make a good impression is to smile. Smiling makes you appear friendly and approachable, two qualities that are sure to endear you to the person you're meeting. Additionally, smiling can help put the other person at ease, which will make them more likely to open up to you. Be engaging and interested. The best way to make a great first impression is to be genuinely interested in the other person. Ask them questions about themselves and their life, and then listen carefully to their answers. People love talking about themselves, so if you can be the one who gives them the opportunity to do that, they'll likely walk away from the conversation feeling great about you. Be positive. This one seems like a no-brainer, but it's amazing how many people forget their manners when they're under pressure. Remember to say please and thank you, and treat others with respect. Remember, the first impression you make on someone is usually the lasting impression. So take some time to think about how you want to come across when meeting someone for the first time. If you're confident, interested, and friendly, you are sure to make a positive impact. Why you should make a great first impression every time. As you heard, the old saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And there's a reason why this saying has stood the test of time, because it's true. In today's world, people are constantly meeting new people and forming first impressions, whether they're in person or online. And those first impressions can have a lasting impact on how those people perceive you. Think about it. When you meet someone for the first time, what do you notice about them? Do you pay attention to their clothes, their body language, their tone of voice? All of these things play into your first impression of that person. And if you don't make a good first impression, it can be difficult to change people's perception of you down the line. That's why it's so important to make a great first impression every time you meet someone new. Whether you're meeting a potential client or going on a first date, taking the time to making a good first impression can pay off in the long run. When you meet someone for the first time, what do you want to think about them? Do they make a good first impression? A great first impression? Or are they just okay? The truth is, we all judge people based on first impressions. And in today's world, first impressions are more important than ever. Think about it. In the past, if you wanted to meet someone, you had to physically be in their presence. But now, with the internet and social media, we could meet people from all over the world without ever leaving our homes. That's why it's so important to make a great first impression online. Because if you don't, there's a good chance you'll never get a second chance. Remember, first impressions are important, perhaps even more so than we realize. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you're meeting someone new, take these suggestions into consideration and see how they can help you put your best foot forward. Who knows? You may just find yourself making a new friend or business connection in the process. How to create an excellent first impression. So how do you make sure you're making a good first impression? There are a few things to keep in mind. Number 1, smile and make eye contact. When you meet someone for the first time, one of the easiest ways to put them at ease is to smile and make eye contact. This shows that you're friendly and approachable, and it helps the other person feel more comfortable in your presence. Number 2, be aware of your body language. Your body language says a lot about you and your feelings, so it's important to be aware of it when you're meeting someone new. Make sure you're standing up straight and keeping your arms uncrossed so that you appear to be open and approachable. Number 3, be a good listener. One thing that people appreciate is someone who takes an interest in what they have to say. When meeting someone new, make sure to ask questions and listen carefully to their answers. This will show that you care about them and are interested in getting to know them better. Number 4, it's important to be genuine when meeting someone new. Don't try to be someone that you're not just to impress them. It'll only backfire in the end. Just relax and be yourself, and let the conversation flow naturally from there. Number 5, look the part. If you want to make a great first impression, you need to look the part. This doesn't mean you need to be wearing the latest designer clothes or have perfect hair and makeup, but you should take care to dress appropriately for the occasion and present yourself in a way that is polished and put together. Number 6, be positive and upbeat. Nobody wants to be around someone who is negative and pessimistic all the time. So if you want to make a great first impression, it's important to be positive and upbeat. This doesn't mean that you have to fake being happy all the time. Just try to focus on the good things in life and avoid complaining or gossiping about others. Number 7, put your best foot forward. Another way to ensure you're making a great first impression is by putting your best foot forward, literally. When you meet someone for the first time, stand up straight and offer a firm handshake. This sends a message that you're confident and trustworthy. Additionally, be sure to make eye contact and smile. These are 2 more important nonverbal cues that can help put people at ease and make them want to talk to you more. Making a good first impression is important because it sets the tone for future interactions. People base their likability on their first impressions of you, so it's important to make sure it's a positive one. There are a few things you could do to make sure your first impressions is a good one, including dressing for success, putting your best foot forward, and being on time. By following these simple suggestions, you can ensure that people will see the best version of yourself from the very beginning. I'm Leroy Glover, and I thank you.